Hey YouTubers, how you guys doing? Been a little while since I've been on here, so been busy with other things. Don't take very long for people to get busy. Uh, I've got something that may interest you today, or you, some of you old timers. Let me put it that way. Uh, I've got a couple of old motors. Let me look here. I have got a 33 horse 1968 model Johnson, and I've got a 1957 Sea King. I'll get it right in a minute. And they've both been setting up for a very long time. One of them has been setting up for about 21, 22 years that we know of. It was running when the man that I got it from, the elderly gentleman that I got it from, it was running. It was on a boat. He took it off the boat because that's all he was interested in was a motor sold boat. Well, he never got around to doing anything with it, and he put it in a lean-to, and it sat there for all those years. Matter of fact, when I found it on Marketplace, I went to his location to get it. The cables that run to it, the starter, battery cables, and all that stuff that run to the inside of it, excuse me, was buried in the ground. Roots and things and grass had grown over. It took a little while to dig all that stuff out. But anyway, that's how long it'd been there. Been there for several years. I haven't done anything with it. I'm fixing to unveil it here in a few minutes. And I've got that, and I've got this behind me, which is a 1957 12 horse, and it's known to be the heaviest 12 horse ever built. And most of the time back then, when they built these things, they built them out of much better material, I believe. That's me now. This 33 probably weighs as much as a 150 today of the same, that Johnson makes. These are much, much heavier, which like I said, to me that relates to better material. When they built these things, they didn't intend for them to last 2 or 3 years. They intended for them to last a lifetime. And that was an issue for Johnson too, because they were running so long, they had to do things, I believe, this is my own thoughts, so that they could sell parts, first one thing or another. But anyway, we're going to turn it. Now like I said, that's my thoughts. I've been in this for a long time. We're going to pull the top off of this 33 to start with. All right, this is the 33. And like I said, it's been setting up, I think, a little over 20 years. I don't really know since it's actually been run. It has a front side to it. This will pop down so you can crank it manually. It ain't froze up, so that's a good thing. You can get to the manual choke if you need to. It has an electric choke, so you can do all this from the front. So I'm going to go ahead and take this top off, and then we'll eyeball. Let's see how that, there you go. What all we got here. Even the top is aluminum. I think they're all plastic now. Yeah, it's all froze up. Carburetor's all froze up. It does have an electric choke. Of course, it's froze up too. Mice have been chewing on it. But I'm going to get a better picture of all this before I clean up or tear into it. All right, this is it. Hopefully you can have a better idea. I can't really tell. It looks fuzzy, and it may be. That's the starter solenoid. That is the choke solenoid. All of this in here is froze up. All of that is. The choke is froze. All that's got to come off. That's the starter, of course. And back here is living quarters for rats and mice. It don't look like they've chewed on the the cables, the spark plug wires, but they have chewed on various other wires, so I'll have to check all that before I see if I can get it running. First thing I'm going to do is turn it around, pull the plugs out of it, and fill it full of WD-40, see if I can get the motor freed up. And then I want to see if the starter and stuff works. These are the cables that I was telling you about. I got them all laid up here now. But they were in the ground, and roots and things had grown over them. That thing is froze up from front to back. And I do have, show this right quick too. I have the gear shift and the cables for the throttle. Came with it. I could not believe that. That would be almost impossible to find. But anyway, that's where we're at on this right now. I'm going to clean this up, get all that stuff out of the way right there, pull the plugs out, fill it full of WD-40, and see if I can get that motor to spin over freely. So, just hang in there a little bit. We'll do this one step at a time and see what happens. Alright, I want to show you some things that I've done. I haven't done much, but I want to document this as I go. Not that a lot of people are going to be working on a 68 model. Some of us older folks enjoy it, so that's the reason I'm doing the videos, because they're not out there. I've got two 115 Johnsons. There ain't nobody in my vicinity at all that'll work on them, so you have to learn, I guess. But what I did, there are 3 bolts, one there, and one there. These front 2 are 3/8. This back one, I can find it there, is a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to see if I can get this off here. Okay, that wasn't too bad. There's the bottom of it. That is the part that needs spraying down real good. The rope don't look bad at all. Don't look like it's been a long time since it's been replaced. It'd be hard to tell, but anyway, there that is. Now this has got to come off. Once you get the nut broke loose, there's 3 holes, and you can't see them from where you're at, but there's 3 holes here that you can put a pulley on there. And I have used it. Sometimes you pull those threads out because it's on so tight. What I do is take a pry bar and put it under one side. And while I'm prying on it, this side, I hit the other side. And most of the time it'll pop right off. Now you have to hit it harder than that, don't take me wrong. I didn't want to go through the time of showing all that, but that 99% of the time it'll pop off here no matter what it is. Newer models, of course, don't have points. This one does. Then you pull this off. This is the ohmmeter right here. This right here is what creates, it's a magnet. These magnets, when they come around and hit this coil, causes a charge that goes to the points and allows the points to fire to the plugs. That's how that works. Let me pick this up and put it back on. I don't guess I will because I broke it. I'll have to find the pieces. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead now and file the points on it, clean everything up real good, stick the top back on it, and see if I can get it to fire. If I can get it to fire, all I got to do is clean the carburetor up, and I can get it running after that. But anyway, that's where I'm at right now. Now I got to find the pieces through my mic. Hopefully you can see that. These are the points. They have got to be cleaned up. Most of the time, just file them, clean them up real good. Most of the time they'll work. These are the coils. What I'm going to do is clean those points up good. Condensers could be bad. But anyway, I'm going to clean those points up real good. Put the top back on it. And see if I can get it to fire. That's going to be my next thing. The points really look good. They have a film. Those contacts right there. We can see that or not. But those contacts right there. We'll get a film on them and they won't fire. But I'm going to do that right quick and then I'll come back and we'll see if I've done any good. Now, cleaning up the points on this thing, there's not much to that, but I'm going to go ahead and show it anyway. You know how it works. The condensers condenses the voltage down low enough to keep them burning the points up. But all I do is take a screwdriver, put in there. Once I turn this to where the points are closed, then I'll take a little screwdriver and put it in there and open that up enough that I can get a file in there. And really all you have to do is just file it. Now sometimes, I don't know if I can do this or not. I don't know if you can see that or not. Sometimes I'll put a little pressure to make sure that they get filed good or cleaned good. Because you want them flat. You really do. So you don't want to go back and forth with that file. You just want to go as straight as you can and then clean them up. Then I always pop them a time or two. And see if you pop them a time or two, if there's any trash in there, to usually get rid of it. But that's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to do the other side, and then I'm going to put the top back on it and spin it over and see if I've done any good. Alright, I'm going to show you a little something here. Just in case you don't know what all you have to take loose. Like I say, I've got it firing now. You have to take that fuel line off. There is a nut right there. That clip has to come off. That screw right there unscrews and then that clip will come off. Then you have to unscrew that screw right there. That goes to the choke. It's got an electric choke on it. Then you have to come around here and take 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts out. Take the starter off. You have to take that cable off right there too. Back in there, and I don't know if you can even see it or not, but back in there there's a nut. So all this got to come off. This may have to come off too. I don't know. I don't think it, but that one screws all holds that on there. But anyway, that's got to come off. And when I get that off, I will put it on the table and try to put cameras around there in place where you can see it. I've sprayed it down with WD-40. I'm so proud that thing fires. And it looks like this stuff here is loose, which means this up here is all still froze. And when I get it tore apart, it'll clean up, and I hope I can get it tore apart without tearing the gaskets up. And if so, I can put it back together and maybe get it running sometime today if I don't give out. It's kind of getting warm in here. I don't have any insulation in the old shop. But just take your time. Remember how you tear something apart and put it back together. Keep up with your bolts and nuts. That's not a good situation right there, but you have to keep up with all those. Make sure they go back in the right place. But it's not that difficult, or I couldn't do it. These old motors, I hope that when I get this one going, somebody will get use out of it that they can put it on. Maybe an old rig that requires something like this. A lot of people like to restore old stuff. And I guarantee you that 33 horse will probably walk past the 50 horse today. There's just that much difference in horsepower. They measure them different now. I think they measure them now from the prop. But back when they built this one, it was at the end of the crank. And that's a big difference in horsepower. Alright, let me explain something right quick. I told you there was 4 screws to get that starter off. I was wrong. 1, 2, 3. Then there's 2 more under here. 4, 5. The bracket there. And then that one right there. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts holding the starter in, plus the wire for the starter. So that I did need to explain a little further, because it wasn't as easy to get that off, and it don't just slide out of there at that, but it will come out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus the bolt for the nut for the. So that thing ain't going nowhere. It's on there. Anyway, I got that off. Now I'm fixing to pull the carburetor off. Now you can see a little bit better also that you can see that bolt. Got to take that loose. Then you can see this bolt over here. And as you unscrew that, you have to slide that whole thing out. You can't take the nuts off. You have to, without sliding it out. Hopefully I won't tear that gasket up right in there. There's also a gasket right here that is hard as a rock. So if it breaks, then I'm going to have to get me a kit. Anyway, when I get it out and get it on the table, we'll get back to that. So I want to share that in case anybody runs into it. At least they'll know. That'll help them some. So y'all hang on there, and I'll be back in a little bit. One, two, three, 4. All right, here we are again. Got my fan going. Got the carburetor laying here in front of me. This is the carburetor off of a 60. I forgot what it is now. I think it's a 68 33 horse Johnson. But this is the carburetor. Everything on it's froze up. Been setting for over 20 years that I know of, and maybe longer than that. We're not really sure. But I'm going to tear this thing apart, clean it up. I did not order a kit for it. If I tear a gasket up, that's what I'll have to do, but that ain't got nothing to do with tearing it apart. Maybe. Ooh. Never had to take an impact to get one of them apart. We will see. Okay, that broke loose. Hey, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Although, like I said, I've never had to use an impact to break screw loose on a carburetor. And I did spray this thing down a couple of days ago with WD-40 and hoping that it would freeze something up, but it didn't. So getting this thing tore apart may be the least of my problems. That. I mean froze. Now then, I think I've used a little bit of it. I ain't used much, but I've dropped more than I've used. I broke the end off of them. Let's spray that down real good. I've learned something over the years when you go to tear stuff apart. Vibrations will help. that will, you want to work nothing, it'll tear something up. Sometimes vibration will allow that penetrating oil to go in places that it won't normally go. I think, may not be able to do it with that. That has got to come apart. I'm going to take the butterfly off if possible. To let something sit up this long. You get old, get nervous, it's much slower. Let's see. It is the shaft. It's froze. So, I don't know what all that's going to take to get it loose. And it may all be froze. Might not be just the shaft. I have a hammer here somewhere if I can chase it down. I took those two screws loose. I didn't take them out because they're getting hard. I'm just trying to get this shaft broke loose. It'd be nice if that would. It won't. Okay, that one did. All right. If I don't knock all that stuff off, I'll be all right. Yeah, it's a shaft. All right. I don't know how much of this stuff I'm going to be able to show because of time. I don't know whether I can just get by with showing this separate and come back. Huh. Maybe I lied. That shows to be loose. Now then, see, can I get that shaft out now that I done beat it up on the end? Because you have to really be careful because these shafts are hardened steel. They are. They don't wear. But that case is aluminum. So over the years, sometimes they'll wear enough that water, if you ain't got them covered real good, out of the elements, water will get in there and cause this issue here. I went and bought me a bunch of little bitty Carter keys the other day just for stuff like this. Alright. Now maybe that shaft, I don't know whether you can see it or not, that shaft is froze. I don't know which end of the camera that thing's on, but anyway. And that dude is froze solid. I don't know what that was, but fell out of there somewhere. Now there is a gasket or a seal or whatever there. Boy, you talking about froze. And I don't want to mess that right there up, because you can tear that apart too. Matter of fact, I think it's moving a little bit as we speak. Moving a little bit, not much. That thing right there has to work really free. And right now it is not. Sometimes getting it back in the right spot helps. Just moving it back and forth. I have to go get me a small punch because I think it's going to have to come all the way out. Once it comes all the way out, you can clean that shaft up, which I'm going to pull it all out anyway. Alright, see, can I find a little bitty pump? It ain't exactly what I need. This punch is not necessarily the one for the job, but it will work. Now that one stuck harder than any I've seen so far. Now then, there's also a spring, you can see it there. You don't want to lose it. You can't go by the nearest. Well, I got threads of grabbing hold of that, and that's going to cause me a problem before it's over with. You can't go to your nearest Johnson store and pick up these parts. It ain't gonna happen. I really don't like the idea of doing it this way. It's not giving me no choice. Okay, remember what I said about not losing that spline? One, two, three, four, five. All right, I found it. It was in the floor, naturally. That goes here, and there's a certain way that goes, because you want it to spring that way, so it'll close it back up. I'm gonna lay that over there. Now this right here, now you can see how it is worn right there. Because it only travels a very small distance. So I'm going to go over there and do just a little bit of work on this. And then we'll come back and see if we can get it to work like it's supposed to. Now then, I got to figure out if the corrosion is in this. I really don't have anything to clean that out with. So we will see. Alright. This goes in this way. And I guess it is in there, because that ain't going in there very good. But it did. That's better. Now then. Keep this right here the same way. I think the corrosion, a lot of it's on the inside of this carburetor. But anyway, this right here will work. So, as you can see, works real good now. As I say you can see, when I got this in my lap, you can't see it. That right there works now like it's supposed to. This butterfly still needs some TLC, but I'll clean it up. I'm going to put it in the vat for one thing. But I'll clean it up and make sure it's okay. And you have to watch too, because this will go in backwards. Won't work right, but it'll go in backwards. So you can see right there where that shaft wrote on it. So you know that's the shaft side. So that's the shaft side. Maybe you can see that. I know you can't see it from up there. And there's plumb across the shop. And anyway, about that much of it tore down. So that's free. The choke is free. I say the choke is free, but anyway. That's open. The choke itself is not froze. That shaft is good, and so is the solenoid. It's working like it's supposed to. But I've had trouble out of these things more times than I care to think about. Sliding back and forth is something they do not enjoy doing. See if I can. Get this working a little bit better, which it's going to go into that. So I'm going to take this off. Spring right here is what keeps it locked in place. It really likes where it's at. So we'll persuade it to do otherwise. Hopefully. Maybe I can do this without knocking everything off. did it. Okay, it did. Now this right here is the spring that holds the choke in place when you pull it out or push it in. In the process of time, that thing is bad. And I don't know if this will come apart or not. Maybe some of them will come apart. They got a key in here that won't come, or I can't get out, let me put it that way. Alright. That's closed. Alright. Now I know that right there is supposed to come out. But I've tore into a bunch of these and I've never been able to get them apart. I'm going to fool with that because that's working like it's supposed to anyway. Now then, I would like to get these two out. And I know these work because I've messed with them before I pulled it out. I don't think they're froze. And I don't know if there's a difference in the top and bottom either. And there is. The top is shorter than the bottom is. Let's see if we can get this out. I said that wouldn't froze, but if it ain't, it don't like much. You can put a screwdriver in there too and turn them sometime, but it swells it up and then it's hard to get that back on. So I try not to do that unless I have to. I have done it before. No, it's this thing right here. Nope. Well, maybe this and this. Put this on here. Maybe. Put that screw in there. That screw will swell that up enough maybe that I can get it out of there without taking 2 days. Now, the other ones I did not take out. Let's see if this will help speed things up a little bit. And it will. Naturally, the last 4 or 5 turns. You see? Remember, this one was sharp. That's the top one. This is the bottom one. It's rounded. That's the one that just goes 3/4 of the time. Okay, those are out. Thank the Lord. Now then, all them things got little bitty quarter keys in them. Some of those will pop out. That ain't one of them. So, we're going to have to go the ugly route. Bad when you old, ugly, and blind. And it broke. But what I need out is still in there. All right, I think it fell out. Thank you, Jesus. Now then, all right, that one came out. We're going slow, but we're going. This, folks, is the worst one I've ever tore down in my whole 60 years of doing this, probably. Off and on. This is the toughest one I've ever dealt with. Tearing it apart. And I just hope and pray that that gasket will stay together. I'd really like to use it. I've got by with it so many times. Because really the kit, I'm not going to attempt to do that. I'm going to go ahead and use this. I don't mind buying a carburetor kit, but it really doesn't come with stuff that you need. Oh, that was there too, folks. It is there. It would help to have a vise over here to put this on. I got a vise over there, but I'd like to have one set up with plastic. And that thing fought all the way. So maybe a treasure in there, who knows? Carburetor full of gold. I know you can't see that, but I'm really trying. Oh, I hate that I've run another can of that stuff. That's one thing I like about WD-40. It's got that permanent squirter on it. All right. Let's see. It ain't jumping off of there. It do not want to come off of there. Yeah. Maybe. Some of it's going to stick on one side. Some of it's going to stick on the other side. Maybe yes, maybe no. I might have to get a kit for it because although the gasket is okay, but that's cork. I'll have to find out if that'll float or not. That's usually a problem. And I think I've got another float. I bet you that ain't gonna fall out of there. 99% of the time, that little shaft that holds that float in will just slide right out. But somehow I don't see that happening. And sometimes, yeah, that's where that goes out. Let's see, can I find something smaller? I was gonna spray that down, but I done broke it. I ain't through, so I might as well get me another can over here, but I'll get rid of it. I buy it by the case. WD-40. blast. And I use a lot of it. I'm out of blast. Now that can fall off, it won't hurt nothing. I think that would be the smallest one. Yeah. Anything is smaller than that I know of. Huh. I wish you know that will only go one way. That is the way. It ain't budged. I don't think it's going to, although that's functional. I hope I didn't throw my parts away. I think I've got another float from the last kit. I don't know how you gonna get that out of there, fat boy. Do not know. And it's gotta come out. No matter what. And I'm gonna have to find something to get that out with, so I'll be back directly. Make you tell I'm a little tired. This did come out. I rigged me up a little punch and tapped, and it popped out and it didn't break, so I can reuse that. So far the gasket's good and that's good. And I went ahead and took an impact and broke these loose. There's one underneath this one also. Now that's the jet that it's good and clean. That puts gas in the gas bowl. This one here is what meters. This is a metering jet. And as you can see here in a minute, if I ever get it out, all right, there are holes. One, usually there's more than that, and it may be all clogged up, which it is, you can't see through it. So it's clogged up. I'll have to clean that up. See if I can get this off without tearing it up. That's a seal. See here, that one. I was thinking that bottom one had one too. Maybe not. So, but the gas flows from this, and it is, this comes out, this, no it don't. That's, you're supposed to be able to see all the way through that, you can't. It just stopped up. But that's where the gas gets from the bowl as you accelerate. That's a choke. The one that was all froze up back here, as you accelerate, creates vacuum. And vacuum will pull gas from this up through into the motor, whichever way it goes, yeah. So they're fairly simple. I mean, they're not rocket science, or I couldn't do it. Usually there's some more. Fuel passages and air passages, but I don't see them. Now I've got to get that gasket off of there because it came off. I'm going to reuse that one. Thank you, Jesus. Now then, see, can I get this solenoid off that operates the choke? That's really handy. All of the stuff that you can do from the front, which operates the choke and all that stuff, because these won't start if you don't choke them. Most of the time, even if they're warm. Unless you just shut it off for a few minutes and then there it is. Now then, what holds that in? I don't know. I don't think. Let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and take this off. I'm going to leave that. That's a plastic clip. You probably wouldn't be able to buy one for love nor money. So I'm going to take it off in a different place. I'm going to replace all these Carter keys anyway. Now then, see, can I get that around there to work with me instead of against me? It'd be nice if that would just come on out of there without a whole lot of problem. Now then, I'm going to take this off because I'm going to douse that one in cleaner. It looks good. It do. Well, it looks like another gasket in there, but I don't think so. But it is too, because one of them didn't have a gasket on it. That one there. I guess it keeps air from going by. I don't really know. Maybe fuel from coming out. One or two. And the reason I try to dig some of that out, like I said, that tank over there that's got carburetor cleaner in it to make them real soft. You can get them the rest of the way out. But sometimes it's so soft that the little bitty pieces will stick in the bottom and you don't want that. All right, I'm going to go over and get that. Stick that down in there and we'll let it boil for a while. I've had this carburetor cleaner for a number of years. Back when it was pretty expensive. I don't know how much it costs now. But used to have one, my boss did years and years ago. And it had an air hose hooked up to it. And it would bubble while it was cleaning, and boy, when them things come out of there, they look brand new. This one does not do that. That's something else I don't understand. In the process of taking it out, sometimes it'll push it back in and over at this place, and then you just got to go back and forth till you outsmart it. something? There you go. Now then. That ain't good. My tray's gone. Hang on. 1, 2, 3. All right, folks, this is a 1968 33 horse Johnson. I just want to crank it up and show you that it runs. And then I'll put some more information down at the, where you can read it. Don't want to run it just a minute because it does not have water hooked up to it. But it does run good. And I'll explain what all I done to it in the comments below. But it is no longer on that shaft. And I don't know if you know it or not, but Springs has a way of bouncing a pretty good ways. I have no idea where that went. I do know this much, I gotta find it. So, I shall return. Hopefully with the spring. And then, see if I can get the shaft to turn. It is not good. All right, that did open there, so that's a good thing. I don't know if I'll have to, or what I'll have to do to get this broke loose.